hey, 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 mm, mm, hey, hey, mm, mm, hey, 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 how are you? Hey, 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 mm, 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 mm. Hey, hey, I woke up on a motherfucking Tuesday, feeling like I'm drunk but feeling loose, and I don't know what to do. But I know where I'm gonna go. I'm out here living my best life and fucking with these hoes. That's not the right thing to say. But I said it anywhere. I said it any day. What's up, Sora-san? What's up, gaming bros? Hope you're having a good day. Cause if you are, I hope it continues to go well. And wherever you are, I hope the love finds you well. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Whoa, 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 hey. Hey, oh, 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 oh. It's another manic episode. Another manic episode. Another manic episode. It's another manic episode. Another manic episode. What's up, Jayus? We're gonna talk about some stuff because we got some announcements and some stuff to talk about. So we about to see what's up. Let's go. Oh yeah, we're gonna get into it. So I'm trying to do this earlier because I want to go to the gym and get my shit done. And there was already enough to talk about. So we had the Video Game Awards 2019 come out. What was that? Thursday? I think Thursday is when it happened. And that shit was an experience. Whether that's a good thing remains to be seen, but it was indeed an experience. Also, what's up, Antrite? So, we can, for the fuck of it, let's go through the winners because this probably won't last as long because we already knew there was going to be some fuckery. What's up, Orion Sword? But I'm just curious if anyone has any discrepancies. Because I had my issues, but I'm curious where everyone else feels. What's up, Clocked It? How you doing, bruh? So, I guess we'll talk about some things. So, for the Video Game Awards, we're just going to quickly go over some of the winners and discuss how we feel about some of these choices, because some of this seems like a bunch of bullshit and some of this just seems, I don't know. It's one of those things where I think people were cool with it because Death Stranding didn't win as many awards as people thought they were. Although, ironically enough, the prediction I had, which was them winning 3, was the one I was like, that's what I was hoping for. 3, I think is still a little bit too much, but I'm at least cool with it. What's up, Static? So we're going to go through it. So, The ones I didn't have an issue with, best VR game being Beat Saber, I'm cool with that. Strategy game being Fire Emblem, I'm cool with that. Sports racing game, I'd rather Crash win than fucking Dirt Rally or FIFA or Evolution Pro Soccer. I was cool with that. My first two annoying ones were probably was fucking best role playing game and best score and music. Best score and music was won by Death Stranding, where you had fucking Cadence of Hyrule, Devil May Cry 5, Kingdom Hearts 3, and Sayonara Wild Hearts in the same category. Yeah, the fact that Nintendo kind of got pigeonholed into the family category, that was just the issue with the nominees. As much as I don't care, as much as I can openly admit that Kingdom Hearts was a disappointment, the one thing it should have won would have been best score and music. I would have been 100% cool with it winning best OST. Now, to be fair, Kingdom Hearts 3 does tend to reuse a chunk of music from like the older games, but I thought the new original tracks were just as good. It also seems Death Stranding to me doesn't have what I would consider original music, or really good music. It's a lot of atmospheric shit. It's like saying Zelda Breath of the Wild was gonna win best score. It doesn't. It's nothing against the track. It's just like it doesn't have a definite enough soundtrack to justify it winning. Death Stranding, I think, is in the same boat. So giving that to now, granted, it's the one of the 3 awards it won, but the reason why I feel like it won in the first fucking place was it was like, oh look, we could get Kojima to have like a performance of one of Death Stranding's OST, so we'll have it win and then have a performance from it. But I'm like, but it's not justified. Like, I feel like you did that as a promotion, debating whether or not it deserved the award, because I don't fucking think it did. But whatever. That one annoyed me. Also, there were other games that had really good fucking... Oh yeah, we'll talk about the Sony Direct too. The Sony Direct would have been okay if it wasn't the fact that everything got leaked. The biggest problem... Listen, Clocked, I'm not saying it's bad. What I'm saying is, like... I wouldn't have been sitting there going, oh, Breath of the Wild is the best OST of 2017. Mario Odyssey would have won it for 2017, hands down. Personally, I think Odyssey has a better OST than Breath of the Wild. But I also recognize that Breath of the Wild is more atmospheric. If we're talking 2017 games, you give that to Mario. You don't give that to fucking Zelda. Because Mario had the more like... Mario's OST, Odyssey's OST is fucking lit. That's my opinion, though. But yeah. So the Death Stranding thing seems to be a bunch of bullshit in my opinion. Then we go to best role-playing game. Now, it was hard for me to make an opinion on this because I don't think Kingdom Hearts 3 should have been in there. Kingdom Hearts 3 is more of an action RPG than it's more of an RPG than other games. But like, it's still more of an action game to me than an RPG. Especially 3. 3 definitely feels like a fucking RPG. I mean, 3 definitely feels more like an action game. Oh no, we're gonna talk about Game of the Year. I'm trying to go up the list. Final Fantasy 14 just seems like a weird decision, considering 14 has been around for like a few years now. So the fact that 14 even qualifies seems dumb to me. DLC for Monster Hunter is the same thing. Like, why the fuck does that count? I almost feel like they don't recognize there were other RPGs out. Like, at this point, I would have put Dragon Quest XI-S on here, and that would have been a fair point to me than to put fucking Final Fantasy 14 just because it had an expansion, or Monster Hunter because it had an expansion. And the game I think that they should have given it to is The Outer Worlds. The Outer Worlds, I feel like I have heard nothing but praise for that game. I feel like that's the game that should have won Best Role Playing. Now, granted, I don't know how Disco... Click the notification bell, Lightning, because YouTube is on some bullshit. Also, Hayden Lightning. I don't like how Clocked just has a gun on hand. That bothers me on a whole nother level. And then I feel like Clocked just sits there and has a gun on his hip at all times. And if anyone says something, you'll just start seeing his arm raise, and he'll slowly but surely start just pointing the gun at the camera, and you're like, oh, what you say? And then if he calms down, he'll do this. He'll do. I don't know if anyone's played Disco Elysium, so I'm curious if anyone even had any opinions of that game winning. I think Outer Worlds probably deserved it though. Well, that's true. I'm just saying, like, if you're gonna put expansions of Monster Hunter and Final Fantasy, that seems kind of dumb. Performance I didn't care about. I was surprised they didn't give it to Norman Reedus. I thought that was definitely going to be one it would win. I mean, it was still a Death Stranding character, but I'm surprised it was fucking Mad Mikkelsen instead of Norman Reedus. But hey, whatever. Fortnite winning best ongoing game. I'm not surprised. Let's see. Narrative. Disco Elysium winning narrative kind of confused me. But then again, I don't know anything about the game. I thought I was either gonna go to Control, Death Stranding, or Outer Worlds. Some of these are just weird winners. Then the best multiplayer game is Apex Legends, which I thought that would be Call of Duty's to win. So that's a little weird. There's a lot of weird choices. The one that probably pissed me off inherently was the fucking best mobile game. Now, if anyone's known about this, they know that Call of Duty Mobile has had a fuck ton of issues in terms of like gambling and microtransactions. And they still gave it to this game. That's the best mobile game. And I was like, bitch, how dare you? How dare you waste my time with this nonsense? Independent game. Actually, Disco Elysium won a lot now I'm looking at it. That's a game I haven't heard much about and I haven't seen much of, so I can't say anything. Best games for Impact, Greece, which I think they also won best art direction. Of course, they gave fucking Death Stranding best game direction, which seems kind of weird. You gave them best game direction, but Sekiro won game of the year and best action game, but it didn't have best game direction. Hell, I would have gave it to fucking Resident Evil 2. I feel bad because Resident Evil 2 didn't win anything, and I don't think Control won anything. Or Control might have won something. Actually, I think Disco Elysium might have the most wins because it also won Best Fresh Indie Game. Smash Brothers won Best Fighter, as it should, because fucking Jump Force is garbage. Luigi's Mansion won Best Family Game, but that was a Nintendo award regardless of what happened, so whatever. Esports nonsense I don't give a fuck about. Esports game was League of Legends. That's not too surprising. So the esports events was the League of Legends Championship. Realistically, if the best esports event and the best esports game aren't the same game, it'd be ridiculous. So once we found out once we found out it was League of Legends for the best esport event, we already knew it was going to be the esports game. Don't care about the coach. Don't care about the content creator. I don't even know who the fuck Shroud is. Wasn't surprising that's a League of Legends player. Community support was Destiny 2. That seems stupid. If anything, it should have went to Final Fantasy 14. Because that game's been out for years and they still fucking sat there and supported it. Also, what's up, Prince Revolver? Resident Evil 2 did get shafted like a motherfucker. It's insane. But I would have given that to Final Fantasy 14. Why did Destiny 2? But then again, I mean, Destiny 2 is a free-to-play game now. I get it. I just don't think it deserves it. Also, you gave Call of Duty best audio design. Now, initially, I was annoyed. Although I will say this year seemed to have at least some good stiff competition for audio design. And I get why Call of Duty would have won it. Part of me thinks Resident Evil 2 deserved it more. But yeah, what's up, Red Dragon? I'm trying to do this earlier. I'm actually doing this before I go to the gym. So I'm actually going to do this and then go to the gym. And then hopefully I'll try to make this like the standard way of doing things. So like, because this is the longest thing I do. Like this, the gym, and then the other two things, which are obviously get ready for tomorrow. And the Pokemon episode review, which don't take that much time. This might be easy to do earlier. Plus, we have a bunch to talk about. So like I said, I'm only going to... So audio design with the Call of Duty, I get it. I don't know if I agree with it, but I get it. Art direction kind of pissed me off. You gave that shit to Control. Control is not a game I think that genuinely deserved it. If you were gonna give it anything, I would have been cool with Grease. I would have been cool with Sayonara Wild Hearts. I would have been cool with Legend of Zelda. Control is not a visually isn't that it's not a creative audio design. I mean creative animation artistic design. For me personally, it's not. I would have given it to Death Stranding just because the mocap. But you gave that shit to Control. Control is not a visually appealing game. And then I think at this point we have best action game. I'm glad Devil May Cry 5 won. I'm cool with that one. That's a W I'm cool with. Devil May Cry I think deserved an award. I think fucking Resident Evil did too. But I'm cool with Devil May Cry 5 winning. And then action adventure game went to Sekiro, which also won Game of the Year. I think Sekiro is one of the weirder fucking choices. I think next to Outer Worlds, that was like my bottom 2-tier choices where I was like, they're either gonna give it. It just seems weird. It just seems weird to me. It's not that I think Sekiro's a bad game. It's just that Sekiro. I don't know how I feel about it. I don't know if I feel like. I don't know if I feel like Sekiro deserved it. I guess that's my opinion. I think. I mean, it's cool that they decided to not give it to Death Stranding, which I think partially was just due to the fact that, like, Jeff Keighley was kind of bullied throughout that whole experience, talking about, because people really thought they were going to do it. Which, to me, the fact that the thought was so strong in most fans tells me there was a problem in the first place. I'm like, Jeff, you've been sucking this man dick for years. And knowing you'll probably still, like, when a DLC comes out, he'll get it then. Or some nonsense. Like, people still don't trust that whole interaction. What makes me mad is I feel like a lot of people only are cool with the Game of the Year because it wasn't Death Stranding. But I don't feel like Sekiro's the one who deserved it. I think if you're going to give it to anybody, I don't think Control deserved it. I don't think Death Stranding deserved it. As much as I wouldn't think they would give it to Resident Evil 2 because it's a remake. I think Sekiro was like the last of my mainstream choices. Like, I thought Smash or Outer Worlds would have been the first top two. Would have been the two choices that would have made the most sense. Resident Evil being like a third, and I mean, I'm not mad at Sekiro, but fuck it. I mean, that's really the way I'm gonna address it. Sekiro's not a bad choice. It's just, I mean, as a whole, fucking, the Game Awards, I think genuinely were worse than last year. I think, because it was a lot of ads, a lot of promotion, a lot of sponsored by such and such, brought to you by such and such. It's just like, Soul Calibur has been out for a few years now, hasn't it? Soul Calibur wouldn't have qualified because it's older. Isn't that like a 2016, 2017 game? Soul Calibur it's been out for a while, that's why. Yeah, she makes her cameo. That's actually the least interruption she's been. But like, and then what made it worse is a lot of the reveals weren't interesting. And then there's currently some drama going on with what the No More Heroes 3 reveal trailer because supposedly they what was it? They supposedly like ripped off animation from other people. Supposedly. I haven't looked too much into it. Particularly because fucking, oh, it was last year. I knew it wasn't this year. And then the fact that you ended it with the Fast and Furious was a whole fucking problem in itself. That you should have just, to me, you should have saved the Xbox for the end of the presentation, like the end of the award show. Like, yeah, see, that means it was probably in the running last year for fighting game. I mean, I guess I could go look real quick. It had to be in the running for last year then. Let me see. Best multiplayer, best ongoing fighting. Where's the fighting game? Oh, they gave it to Fighters. That's what it was. Fighters won last year. But Soul Calibur, I'm pretty sure, was in the nominees. Like, I'm 90% sure it was probably nominated. Because it wasn't like there was a fuck ton of fighters. Let's see. Let's see. I don't care. I just need the fucking nominees, damn it. Score, music, impact, ongoing, mobile, VR action. Yeah, it was nominated last year. It was Dragon Ball, Soul Calibur, Blast Blue, and Street Fighter. Those were the ones nominated. Oh, what's up, Anime Reaper? Yeah, that was the other problem. You had a bunch of fucking like trailers that were like 5 or 10 seconds. Well, I think the No More Heroes trailer kind of leads into that whole game drive stuff from Travis Strikes Again. So I think that's what it was. The Batman were pissed. I think the Batman fans and the Smash fans were pissed. Although we've been getting DLC for Smash so consistently, I'm not really sweating. And also because December isn't over yet. There's a high chance we're probably gonna get a direct either this month or next month. So I'm not really sweating the Smash stuff too much. And then obviously you had the State of Play and you had the Nindies, which the Nindy stuff is Nindy. So like, it's not like it's bad, but like if you're not a huge into like independent games, then like it doesn't mean much to you. Yeah, you got Ultimate Alliance 3 DLC that comes out. Is it this week? I think it's this week or the 23rd. I forget which. But yeah, Marvel Alliance 3. And then obviously we have a few announcements we're going to talk about. So I'm going to start with the stuff and then I'm going to bleed into it because we are going to talk about the project. No, it's the Xbox Series X. What the fuck is it? Its official name? Because I always fucking forget. Gamatsu. Let's see. And then we had like okay, so the PlayStation stuff. The State of Play would have been okay if it wasn't the fact that fucking like, what was it? It wouldn't have been bad if a lot of the shit wasn't leaked. Like the Kingdom Hearts stuff was shown before, the Resident Evil stuff was shown before, I don't think Ghost of Tsushima was leaked, but Ghost of Tsushima series. I mean, the Ghost of Tsushima trailer teaser was just a problem anyway. Because it was teased at the PlayStation event, and then we got the full trailer. But it was one of those things where the full trailer was just like more cutscene nonsense with a little bit of like pseudo gameplay thrown in. But the thing I was the most excited about was Bravely Default 2, because we knew Square had already alluded to the fact that like they were working on that the Octopath Traveler team was working on something for Switch. We just didn't know specifically what it was. And then when I saw it, and I was like, because I saw the trailer, I actually need to take the clip from like KG's stream of my reaction to it, because I was like, I couldn't tell, but I was like, that looks like Bravely Default, and I wasn't sure. And here's the kicker: I haven't finished Bravely Second yet, because Bravely Second, I think, does too much retreading. I understand why they're calling it Bravely Default 2, because Bravely Second is technically like a direct sequel to like Bravely Default, whereas Bravely Default 2 looks like it's using completely new characters. The shit looks good as fuck. We already have another 2020 game that's getting bought day one, which means I need to double back and finish Second. I'm pretty far into Second. I just wasn't that far. Also, because Bravely Default also had some annoying. Bravely Default had some annoying fucking issues in it when it's gameplay. So I hope they kind of fix the whole. I don't want to spoil Bravely Default's. It's not its ending, but it's like it's fucking. How do I put it? If you played the late game of Bravely Default, you know what I'm talking about. But there's some bullshit that's happening there that I hope isn't repeated for this game. But it all depends, because I noticed Bravely Default 2 doesn't have like a subtitle. Whereas Bravely Default 1 did have a subtitle that has like one of the most interesting plot twists I've ever fucking seen. Also, yeah, Revo's back on the OST. Final Fantasy 7 did that same shit. Here's an extended trailer. And I'm like, but you didn't show me anything I haven't already seen. It's like more story bits. But I'm like, it's Final Fantasy 7. We already know. Actually, that's what I would fuck with, Prince Revolver. Give me 1 and 2. Give me 1 and 2nd on Switch as a collection, and I would buy that shit day 1, son. Because I need to finish 2nd. I feel bad because 2nd wasn't a bad game. 2nd just suffers from being very, it almost felt like it was too close to the original. Like there was barely any change. So like the enjoyment of the battle system from 1 is still there, but like I'd already played it. And like I said, the latter end of Default kind of like drags because of some plot related stuff. Well, I didn't think it was going to be censored. Oh, that's right, because the original was censored. They censored the outfits. It was like the bunny girl one. There's a few like Adia and Agnes's outfits, and I think even Magnolia's and Adia's from 2nd was also censored. Not all of them, but there were certain outfits. I'm curious. That should be fine. I think to be fair, the only reason why I think Tokyo Mirage Sessions is censored is I think the rumor that's going around that Atlas chose to use the Western version of the game, and they didn't want to pay to fucking decensor anything. Because if you've seen the overview trailers of Tokyo Mirage Sessions Encore, then you've seen that every censor thing is still there. Like the stupid fucking wedding dress. But they said all DLC from the original is included. So I'm curious what that means for the Hot Spring stuff. Because the Hot Spring stuff was never translated and put in America. So I'm curious if that's decensored or not. Or if that's even included. Or are they just lying? Yeah, like the story for 1 was cool, but I feel like didn't get I think the twist for 1 story is what kind of made it better than it would have been. Yeah, the cowboy woman. Yeah, that's what it was. I knew there were certain classes that were either changed completely or just minorly altered. Also, Magnolia is adorable, so I'll never get off of that horse. And I like the character designs we have for Bravely Default 2 so far. We fuck with those. Where's that picture? Yeah, there we go. I think the only thing I find kind of interesting is that, like, every character is like this. Also, I need some Ring a Bell lore. We got some Ring a Bell lore in Bravely 2nd. I'm curious where the Ring a Bell lore is going to go. If they're going to leave that shit alone or are they going to keep addressing it. Because it also it depends on when this takes place. I don't think we even know when this takes place. Let's see. Latest creation of Team Tesso. New characters, but the atmosphere is what the Bravely series is known for. Yeah, they haven't really gone into any of the specifics yet. I think that's not what it was. They switched up the Indian for the cowboy. I thought that's what it was. Ball busters for the win. Ball busters for the win. Bitches from the moon. Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, I that's literally how I felt. Clocked it. I need to see Tokyo Mirage Sessions. I feel bad about because like Tokyo Mirage Sessions, I want to support that game. I think it deserves the support. But we've been going for 30 minutes, and I only have probably like 30 or 45 minutes left. So I do want to get into it. So with the various teasers and trailers, we obviously have to talk about the one that was announced pretty early in the show, actually. And that's the fact that Xbox Project Scarlet is now officially unveiled as Xbox Series X, which essentially just says that it's going to confirm the idea that Xbox is probably going to do a multi-console version for this generation. Meaning we're gonna essentially get like this is like there'll be like I think there's supposed to be like a disc-based version and then a cloud-based version. I'm assuming this is the disc-based version because of the disc slot that's on the actual image. The Bravely series has thick chicks that need love. 100%. All thick chicks need love, yo. They just don't get it. They just don't always get it. And that's the fucking problem. But yeah, so they announced Xbox Series X, and then they also announced Hellblade 2. Now, granted, Hellblade 2, just like a lot of the trailers at the Game Awards, it's just another fucking CGI trailer, which is a problem in its own fucking right, because how many people are excited about CGI trailers? Unless it's a well-known franchise, you can't do that for new IPs, which I think they did that for like 3 to 6 games or some shit. Where we got a bunch of new IP announcements, but it was like, I don't know what this is, so I'm not excited for it. I knew people were excited for The Wolf Among Us 2 because that series was thought to be dead. But yeah, so we got Hellblade 2 announcement, CGI trailer, but it's fine because Hellblade 1 was critically acclaimed and it has enough clout to where it's like, oh shit, there's a sequel, let's go. I imagine Juice is excited. But I want to talk about the Xbox Series X. There's got to be a quicker way to say this. I can't just say X anymore because we already have an X. I guess I'll keep calling it Scarlet for right now. I mean, that's fine. I guess that's fine. Anime Raper. Or Anime Rapper. I'm sorry. What? I was saying Reaper. I think it's Rapper. That's fine, but it still didn't really show a lot. It's more of just kind of like it exists. Here's some slight alluding to stuff, but here we go. Anyways, Holy the White Mage can get it. Holly the White Mage can get it, cause she thick though. But so the Xbox was announced, and fucking the fan base went nuts. Xbox fans lost their fuck, like, woo, it's time for us. I think if you saw Next Gen's podcast, he was like, it's time for the Xbox fans and the PlayStation fans to join together to fight the PC menace, because it's all about because we have a common enemy now. And I'm like, bruh, all they did was show you a box and a fucking trailer for a game sequel. Like, and it wasn't even like gameplay. It was just like a trailer. And for some reason, Xbox fans are now on like this. Xbox is on this like high because it's like, yo, the next console's coming out. It's gonna be crazy, dog. But on top of that, in the announcement that we kind of got with MLB The Show supposedly going multi-platform, and Xbox already kind of doing that with certain IPs, like, the problem with Xbox was never inherently the power. Like, that was kind of an issue in the beginning, but Xbox's problem was for one, its focus, and two, a need to buy their fucking console. Like, I was hearing how, like, I think I was hearing from, like, Juice and T talking about how they were like, well, I don't know if I'm gonna, I may not upgrade my PC and just buy a new Xbox. But I'm like, bruh, why in the fuck would you do that? For me personally, it does look like a computer. Like, this is probably the most PC looking console I've ever seen. But I'm like, because I think people need to understand the advantage of playing on PC. The advantage of playing on PC wasn't just the fact that you could get like this unlocked frame rate, but the fact that the PC could be used for so many different fucking things on top of being used to play new games. Like, for me, I don't see the value in buying an Xbox if Xbox is going to keep the same mentality they have this generation, where I can buy either my games on Xbox, Steam, or Switch, or PlayStation. There's been rumors that the Halo Chief Collection's coming to fucking Switch. Like, with this kind of announcement and these alluding statements going around, Like, who the fuck? Like, why would I don't understand why you being shown a box in a trailer for Hellblade 2 is enough for you to be like, Xbox gonna be back on top, baby. Why? Because of a box that need to be shown anyway. It's also kind of a. I understand people were like, that's a cool announcement for the Game Award show, but because they didn't really go into it, it's not that interesting. Like, a new console reveal, it has to be a console that like showcases itself well. And giving me a box with a controller next to it doesn't mean anything to me. Like, the Switch could get away with that because of what the Switch is. Like, you could take the Switch announcement trailer, which is like a few minutes, and play it, and that would get a hyper reaction than fucking Xbox Series X. Because it's just a box with a fucking controller next to it. But people are like, that's such a cool reveal. And then they announce like a game for PlayStation 5, which we don't even know what that console looks like. So why should I care? Why should I worry? That is true. Xbox fans get hyped over consoles and controllers, which is a fucking dumb thing to do anyway. Well, yeah, Xbox shouldn't put their game on other consoles, but they do. And that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't care if it has 12 teraflops. Because it's also, the problem is this tech talk doesn't mean anything if the games you're putting out on it are on other systems. Like, when you put shit out on the PC, that devalues my reason to buy an Xbox. And they didn't learn that, and to be fair, they've been like this for a while now. During the 360 era, it happened a lot. It happened towards the end, and it really hurt them. And the Xbox One era has almost been completely that. They're also doing time exclusives again. Now, granted, I think Nintendo's doing that with some of the indies. Don't do time exclusives, because if you were not the market leader, it means nothing. Let's see. All in company. Jazz has taste. I think the most part, consoles just make life easier than PCs when it comes to just working. But PCs still have many advantages. Yeah, that's the thing. I get it. Like, the reason why people play consoles is that consoles will always be, I press a button and cut it on. And not saying a PC can't be like that, but a PC, to get to that point where the PC takes longer than to get to that point with a fucking a game console. Whereas a game console, I buy it, I hook it up, and I press the button. Now, you could argue with a PC it's the same thing, but if I upgrade the PC, I have to know how to take the shit out of the PC and put it back in. Now, am I personally saying that shit's hard? No, but there's a bunch of people who would tell you it's hard, and a lot of people who don't have confidence in it. And because people feel that way, that's what creates the gate. It's unlike, like, it's not like a real gate in the sense of like, shit, it's really hard to do. It's a gate in the mind, and that you think it's hard to do. But that's enough for a lot of people to be like, fuck it, I'm not gonna do it. Do I agree with it? No, but that is a thing that happens. People go through how easy PCs are to deal with, which to be fair, they are, but there are nuances to different types of PCs, and depending on what CPU, what kind of RAM you're running, there are things that can make it more complicated, and people just don't like the idea of that shit happening. But for someone like me who already works on PCs as a living, like, that shit, like, a new Xbox console does nothing to me, because I don't trust Xbox to have consistent exclusives. So that's not gonna make me buy your system. I don't give a fuck if the game plays in 4K, because I'm pretty sure the PlayStation is gonna play in 4K. That's the other problem. Like, even if the thing's stronger than the PlayStation, it's not gonna be that much stronger. It's not like someone's coming out with a GameCube and then the next year the PlayStation 3 drops. Like, it's not like that kind of gap, right? And so I think people need to understand, like, for me anyway, I don't see the value in getting this overly excited or hyped up on the fucking Xbox when there's a high chance that it's just gonna be another fucking box that'll have games come to it maybe first, and then they'll eventually, ow, hit my fucking hand. Games come into it first, and then eventually get ported to PC. Now, they do have some tech shit we could talk about, but I don't really care that much. And also, what trips me out is that, like, if you aren't gaming and you don't have like a proper setup, you're gonna have to spend money for some of this shit anyway. If the Xbox Series X is $600 or more, it might be huge. Yeah, but to me, I don't understand, like... But see, the problem is if it's more than $600, who the fuck's gonna buy that? Like, that was the problem that shot the PlayStation in the foot. That, like... Especially if you still got games going to other systems. That's my other thing. Like, if you still got games going to PC, I don't care about Gear 6 looking fucking amazing. Because I gotta buy a $600 console to get it, and then I can just, and then, like, it's gonna come to other consoles. Like, I'm not gonna spend that much money on a game console and then the system. Now, granted, I know some people did buy PS3 at launch, and then I'm sure PlayStation appreciated you for your dedication, but fuck that shit. That's insane to me. Like, $600 is just too much. People are probably... Also, it just gates people. Like, the more expensive a product is, the less people you're going to get it, unless it can sell itself well. And considering Xbox has been on the losing end of the last generation, this thing has to come out swinging on all cylinders. It doesn't need to be where we get a fucking, like... We get a presentation, and then, like, an hour after the presentation ends, we get a bunch of confirmations about how this is going to PlayStation 5, this is going to Switch, this is going to PC, this is only a timed exclusive, this is going to be multi-platform like a week or two later. We don't need that, because it's not going to help anybody. And it's definitely not going to help him. Let's see. Give me 1 second. Discord may or may cause some problems. Let's see. Okay. Let's see. Let's be real though. These consoles can claim to have all this power, but they will still be gimped. Sony doesn't care about JRPGs like they used to. Microsoft would be more appealing if they just focus on their own games, putting more genres and having shooters while having multiplats. To be fair, I think the Xbox One generation they tried, but I think the problem is that what would help them is if they made their own exclusive content. Because right now, realistically, all they're doing is just getting ports of IPs that are already proven themselves on other consoles. Like getting the Kingdom Hearts games. 3 came out this year, and you didn't get the 1.5 or 2.5 or 2.8 collections until, what is it, next year, I think is when it comes out for Xbox? Is it next year, or is it the end? No, it has to be next year. Unless it's coming out in the next few weeks. And they have to be gimped to a degree anyway. You're right, because it's like, oh, well, they're gonna have fucking graphics that'll be stronger than a 2080 Ti, and I was like, how did Sony or Microsoft manage that they're willing, unless they're taking a loss, they got to be taking a loss in order for that to work. For you to have a game console that has the power of a 2080 Ti graphically in it, and you also have to have a CPU that can manage that in a cooling system. I mean, we're having issues at the beginning of the generation of consoles running hot. I think specifically the PlayStation was having issues specifically with that kind of stuff. I just can't imagine them making a box that can be as strong as, say, that could run like Shadow the Tomb Raider at like 120 frames max settings. Like, I just can't. That's insanity, because you can't do it without spending thousands of dollars on a graphics card. And then having a console that can run it with the proper cooling system. Well, Sony has momentum. So Sony I'm not really concerned about. But Microsoft has to re-earn momentum. And Nintendo's in the middle of their own momentum. So Nintendo's just kind of chilling. I don't even think Nintendo's going to have a problem this first half of next year. Because Animal Crossing will make sure they're chilling. And then on top of that, I'm pretty sure the next DLC character will come out early next year. So Nintendo and Sony are in the middle of their momentum, whereas Xbox is losing it. So unless Xbox comes out with something that can undercut them early on in the year, and so they can ride it on E3 going into fucking like the holiday season, they're just gonna struggle. And the problem is that Xbox doesn't have bad showings anymore as much as they just have mediocre showings. And that's the main issue. It's like, oh, like last year's E3 for Xbox wasn't anything crazy. It wasn't bad by any means, but it was like, well, here's some games that I'm going to buy on PC. Here's some games I'm going to buy on Switch. Here's that one or two Xbox titles I might think about playing, or I might just get Game Pass and play for like a month on PC and then be cool with it. That's how Xbox's thing went, where it wasn't bad, but you were just kind of like, A lot say Halo will get marked. Halo doesn't have that pull. Halo still has potential to have that kind of pull, but Halo, like the Halo Infinite, would have to sell gangbusters. That would have to be like one of the best. Would have to be essentially a Breath of the Wild for Halo to fucking like move units like that. Yeah, Halo lost a lot of its pullback during 5, 4, and OST. I think it was Halo 3 OST. Around that era is when they lost a lot of the momentum for Halo. And Halo didn't change enough for a lot of people. Halo was the shit for like the first 3 games, I think. And then those latter 3, it was like, bruh, get that shit out of here. And that's the problem. Like, it's not that they don't have... They're not willing to experiment enough. And they waited way too long to do that in the first place. Like, the most effort they put in was the original Xbox generation. 360 had just kind of maintained and then started coasting towards the end, because at the end they lost a lot of their third-party games to PlayStation, and then they went on PlayStation and ended up outselling the Xbox version. And then they went into this next generation barely fucking trying. We got like a few new IPs, and none of them sold that well, with a few exceptions. And the ones that did sell well got ported to Steam or Switch. Some of them even ended up on fucking PlayStation. The problem with Microsoft is they don't have enough series. Nintendo year. Well, Nintendo this year was fucking disgusting. But I think that works out to their benefit, because that means they have a bunch of fucking games out that you may or may not got to play because they overloaded everybody towards the end of the year. And like going into next year, now granted, March of next year is going to be fucking stupid. March of next year is going to be absolutely insane. Like if we even, you know what, fuck it, let's go look real quick. I'm pretty sure it's like front loaded with like 7 or 8 games. March 2020 game releases. Let's see. Let's see what we just got in March of 2020. March, we got Doom Eternal. We got Nioh 2. We got Final Fantasy 7. We got Animal Crossing. We got Half-Life V. I think it's the Half-Life VR, Vampire the Masquerade, Bleeding Edge. Then next month you get the fucking Resident Evil. Cyberpunk comes out. Trials of Mana for those who care. Minecraft Dungeons. Even in January, you got Yakuza 5. You got Ori Will of the Wisps. You got Kingdom Hearts 3. You got Mega Man Zero Collection. You got the One Punch Man, which is some bullshit. God and Monsters, which we have yet to see anything from. There's a bunch of shit coming out. January has like probably the most. Oh yeah, because fucking Remind comes out later on Xbox than it does on PlayStation, which is kind of weird. Like even January, like next month, you got another Monster Hunter Worlds Iceborne for PC, Puzzles and Dragon Ball Z Kakarot, Tokyo Mirage Sessions, Encore, Mega Man, Kingdom Hearts for PS4, Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles Remastered. Like the next month, the next few months are kind of nuts, and they don't kind of mellow out until you hit like fucking April, and that's all based on what we know. Also, I still find it weird that Ghost of Tsushima and Last of Us 2 are coming out like this late next year. They're both coming out around like the summer, and I'm like, but your new console's coming, Sony. That's why I said, and that's probably the reason why I kept saying that, like, PlayStation may not run away with this gen as easily as they think they will, partially due to the fact that, like, I think that's kind of a dumb fucking decision. Like, why not put one of your heavy-hitting franchises on your new console? Or are you going to do that shit when you make a remake of it like a year into the PlayStation 5? But then again, we haven't seen anything from E3, or if we're going to see like a presentation. Like, realistically, when we get the PS5 and the Xbox Series X presentations really showing off the consoles, that's when we'll be able to make a definitive decision. But right now, shit is in the air. Shit is very up, much so in the fucking air. And this shit, next year is going to be a very interesting year because we have no idea where shit's going to fall. But if I had to make my predictions off the top of my head, I think realistically what's going to happen is that, like, Switch beginning of the year will be fine. I think beginning of the year Switch will be fine. And even though I'm saying that, even though I know there's a bunch of fucking games that are coming out next year that aren't even on the Switch, I don't think that matters too much because some of these games won't, like, I have a sneaking suspicion certain games won't hit as hard. Like Cyberpunk, I have a sneaking suspicion that's not going to do as well as people think it's going to. Final Fantasy VII Remake, I'm in kind of a similar boat. And Animal Crossing is like the main reason why it's gonna hit hard. I think Animal Crossing is gonna be the main thing. That early year is gonna be like Nintendo saving grace with some obvious stuff like fucking Tokyo Mirage and what else? The Mega Man and the Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles, and I'm pretty sure it all and like I said, it all depends on what, like, if we get a direct this month, we'll see. But yeah, my predictions that Sony won't have to do a lot. Sony just needs to coast. Sony just needs to coast until the end of next year. They can fucking, like, because all the PlayStation 5 needs to be is good enough, whereas the Xbox One needs to be exceptional to like brand any interest in it. So we'll see. We also don't know where certain games. We also need to know. 2020 is going to be interesting. I legit think that, because this will be the first time in a while we're getting like a pretty non-traditional like console cycle because of the whole Wii U situation. I'm very curious how this is going to go. Animal Crossing is not one of those games that like appeals to everyone, but Animal Crossing is one of those games that has earned its spot in the respect of the gaming media. Like, Animal Crossing will fuck up some lives. And the main problem is that you got Doom, Final Fantasy VII, Animal Crossing, and all in the same fucking month, while also having Resident Evil, Cyberpunk the month after. Some of these games are going to get cannibalized, and the question is, which ones are going to take the hit? I don't fucking know. Final Fantasy and Neo will be safe because they both come out early. Animal Crossing and Doom, we'll see. And Resident Evil, I think will be fine. Cyberpunk, I don't think is going to do as well. So it all just depends. But I think Xbox is the one that has the most to prove. For me personally, I think Xbox is going to be the company that has to prove the most to the user base. So if they don't come out swinging, they're going to get their ass rocked. But we'll see what happens. And Nintendo's just going to be chilling off of its momentum from this year. Especially, like I said, a Direct can change the game like a motherfucker. Like, if a Nintendo Direct comes out early January or like in the next week for like December or so, that can fuck up the whole game and the momentum. Versus like something like a PlayStation announcement could do the same thing. Xbox, not so much, but we'll see. Speaking of which, I wonder who bought Dance Dance Revolution. Dance Dance Revolution. Do you mean Just Dance Static? Is that what you're referring to? I don't even think Dance Dance Revolutions get console ports. Dance Dance Revolution's like arcade machines in like Japan and shit. Now Just Dance, that's because it's so well on the Wii. That's what it was, which is just the fact that the Wii still has a market. It's just a very, 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 very niche. Oh, it's gonna be in the next month or so. It's either gonna be at the end of this month or early January. Why? Because they got shit to show off. Plus that we haven't, especially now that you've announced some more 2020 titles like Bravely Default 2. I gotta get used to that. Why not? The last direct we got was what, in September? Yeah, I think the last real direct we got was September. So I would suspect it relatively soon. If anything, they'll do it just to promote Animal Crossing. They'll do like an Animal Crossing focused one. So we'll see what happens. But any questions? Also, I'm not that interested in emulators. I'm not against them. I'm just not that interested in them. Static doesn't give a damn. Static is like, fuck this shit. I'm just here to talk about gaming, news, and culture. Don't ask me no motherfucking questions. Shit. Maybe we'll finally get a Shin Megami Tensei 5 announcement. That's another thing. Well, we won't find out, but in time. In due time, damn it. In due motherfucking time. Any questions, thoughts, or opinions? I can't think of anything else that I need to address. The Nindies thing was fine. There wasn't a lot of specifically I was concerned about. Babylon's Fall was not that interesting of a trailer. That was probably one of the most disappointing. Fucking Platinum Games reveals I had seen in a while. It just does not look that interesting. So it wouldn't surprise me if that game went through development hell. But I'm trying to think of anything else. Of course you emulated. Well, that's not surprising. I figured people were emulating their Wii U. The Wii U will become a new element emulating machine. Kind of like how the Wii did. The Wii became that machine for a while too. I mean, Nintendo does do that. But Nintendo does it if you make like YouTube videos on it. I mean, realistically, I'm not been a huge fan of like the leaks for Pokemon anyway. That could be an issue too, Clocked It, because I mean, remember we got, what was it, Korra, TMNT, and like Star Fox in the same, like, what was it, the same year or the same 2 years, and it was like, that might get them in trouble again, so I don't know. I won't really know until I see it, but I was like, we'll see. A decent amount of people might bail on The Last of Us 2 because no multiplayer. I mean, I heard, like, from what I heard, The Last of Us 2's multiplayer was like a surprise hit. Like, people didn't think it was going to be that great. And then they played it and they were like, damn. I don't think that's going to stop people from playing it. I mean, I just don't. But I do know that, like, that is going to be a thing to be mentioned. And I think people are going to be pissed that they released, like, an Ultimate Edition, like, a fucking year later that has it. Which is what I'm expecting them to do. So, That's gonna be a fucking problem, yo. The Platinum might be in some problems again. I think the problem with Platinum, I think realistically Platinum just needs a studio to buy them. But I don't think they want to be under like heavy corporate again. And I get it, but like if they're getting too fucking reckless with where they're allocating their resources and shit, I don't want their quality to drop off of a fucking cliff because of it. But I guess we'll see in time. Well, no, not in the main story, but I mean, like, it was such a fucking... Sorry, I got distracted. But, like, The Last of Us, the multiplayer for that was one of those things that, like, I heard about in passing, because it came out so fucking late. Like, The Last of Us came out 2013, like, the fucking PS4 was coming out. But then again, like, the PS4 probably gets supported for like the next 4 or 5 years anyway. If it's anything like the PS3 or the PS2, they'll get supported regardless. Leno Games has said before that they'd be happy to work for Nintendo to buy them. And I agree with you. It's not so much control they need, they just need focus. Oh, that's true. I'm actually curious why Nintendo wouldn't do that. They've been working with them a lot since like 2014. No, 2013. No, that's not even true. They've been working with Platinum consistently since the Wii era. Like every few years we get a Platinum Games game. Like, yeah, what? Because you got Mad World. I'm trying to think. You got Mad World. It wasn't until the Wii U where they got really buddy. Like Bayonetta, Wonderful 101. We got 3 Platinum games from them in the Wii U era. And the Wii U era was short. It was like 4 years. And we got, what, Wonderful 101, Bayonetta 2, and Star Fox. And then even here, we're getting, what? We got the ports of Bayonetta 1 and 2. We got Astral Chain, which was a surprise game. And then we're still getting Bayonetta 3. I'd be curious if there's a reason why they don't. Or is it just because they wouldn't have them doing a lot? Because realistically, Platinum Games kind of hangs in this one type of genre. Or the fact that maybe they have prior commitments. Like, because if Nintendo were to buy them, they're already working with Square. They're working with a few different companies right now. So I'm curious if there's a reason for it. Well, that's true. And I think the main thing is that, like, how much would you have them do? Like I said, that they primarily do fighting and action games. And like Nintendo doesn't have a lot of fighting action IPs to justify buying them, I guess. Maybe, I'm not sure. I mean, obviously, also because Bayonetta would never be 100% theirs anyway. Like Bayonetta right now, I don't know where the Bayonetta license sits. I know Sega still owns the rights to it, and I think it's like Sega, Platinum, and Nintendo just has rights to certain games. And that's partially because Bayo 3 doesn't fucking... That's because Bayonetta isn't like... It's still a niche franchise. That's the other thing. Like, Bayonetta has 2 main games, and only one of them sold like insanely well. Like, the second one didn't sell bad. The second one just didn't sell as well as it could have. So Bayonetta herself might not be enough. But like if you got them to work on, like, if you had them create more, like right now we have 3 Platinum IPs for Nintendo. And people don't realize that. We have Bayonetta kind of counts, but if you don't, but it'd be her, it would be Wonderful 101, and then you have Astral Chain, which I'm pretty sure Nintendo owns the IPs to Astral Chain and Wonderful 101. I wonder if it's a situation where they have to like work up to having enough IPs to justify having them around as like a main developer. I'd be curious. I'd be curious how it goes. And hell, we might hear something next year. I don't fucking know. The only reason why I don't know if we will is because there's a lot of shit going on. Like they're working on a bunch of other titles for different companies. But realistically, I think Nintendo's the one that's been supporting them the most. I mean, you got some stuff from Square. I don't even think Sony has done anything directly with them, and Xbox tried, and we never will do that again. So, we'll see. I think we'll see. But it's been about an hour. I need to go to the gym, guys. So, thank you guys for the support. Catch me tomorrow on The Juice is Loose, because we're probably going to talk about a lot of this shit again, and you'll get more like a variety of opinions going on. Shout outs to my boy Clocked It for being here. My brother, we missed you last week. We missed you last week, my boy. I don't know if Nier will go to Switch. I don't even know if the Nier creator... To me, that would be more of like... Who the fuck published it Nier? Real quick, before I go, I'm going to check. Who owns the Nier rights? Like, what company is that? Let's see. Who is that? What studio owns that IP? No, I need developers. Oh, it's Square. It's Square. That's why. Maybe. That's possible. But anyways, life's a game. Play to win. And I will catch you guys later. Peace all. Go check out my boy Clocked It's channel. He's been killing it as of late, even though I know he's been tired and working hard. Go support his stuff. Anywho, peace all.